Did you log in? Okay, good. So you can see me? All right. Well, not. It's not working yet. Make sure Miss Sandy, I don't think I can make her a co-host. I think it's just me and Julie are the co-hosts because it's a webinar.
Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me, Mary, when I'm talking? I'm going to say testing, testing.
Yes, yeah.
Testing. Okay. All right. Give me a wave when it's mine.
Hey, I got here on time.
Wow.
I know, I'm so excited.
So we're just about to start and we are being recorded.
Yeah, we need to let them know that we're being recorded. Just FYI, so that for legal purposes, I think we have to let them know.
Yes.
Do you want to do every other now so that we don't mess up, or what do you want to do?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'll have you start. We'll tag team. We're good. We know how to do that. Jump in if I forget something.
Yep.
This is your last one, Dottie. How do you feel?
I feel great. So if everyone is out there listening to the webinar, go ahead and if there's any problems with audio, let us know by putting something into the chat. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Chris Duddy, and I am the principal for El Morro Elementary School. And we also have...
I'm Dr. Julie Hatchell. I'm the principal at Top of the World Elementary.
We'd like to welcome everyone to our TK and kindergarten orientation. This is being recorded, and we will post it on our websites. If you have any questions, you'll be able to refer back to it or get in touch with one of us, but we should have lots of time today to answer your questions in the question and answers. Please wait till the end. We will get to those questions and answers at the end of our presentation. So first of all, our outcomes for today are that you learn what's required for registration in transitional kindergarten and kindergarten, and you'll have a general overview and outline of what to expect in our transitional kindergarten and kindergarten programs. I will be retiring at the end of this year, but Dr. Hatch will be here, and she will also, both of us will make sure that we set my replacement up for success. Dr. Hatchell, do you want to talk a little bit about your background?
Sure. I've been in education for over 30 years now, the last 2 here in Laguna Beach as principal of Top of the World. So while I'm really sad to see Mr. Deddy go, I was saying this is his last orientation with us. He's definitely set us up for success with any kind of transitions, and I'll be working very closely with the elementary principals as well.
Thank you. And I do want to point out that we have all of our kindergarten teachers are experienced, and our transitional kindergarten teachers are experienced as well. And it's a big new step for us in transitional kindergarten that we are accepting 4-year-olds with birthdays up to February 2nd now. So our transitional kindergarten program is expanding, and we'll have 1 classroom at Top of the World and 1 classroom at El Morro for our 4-year-olds next year. Here's an agenda. As I spoke about, we'll talk about our registration procedures, our school safety program and plan, transportation, what the schedule each day looks like, how you know your kids are ready for TK and K, and then we'll answer your questions.
As we look at registration for our schools, we do a completely online process. So we have our process that's outlined at the LBUSD enrollment webpage. You can log on and upload all of the information that you need. I want to just share that our experience with you as parents and community members is a journey that we do together. So if at any point you are ever challenged with this process of registering, we are here to help. So reach out and call us, our attendance clerks, and we will walk you through that.
I did click on the link there in the presentation. And if you go to lbusd.org, you can see right here in the middle of the screen, we have our process for kindergarten, transitional kindergarten, and then any new students that were in grades other than TK and K. And just follow those links. We have our staff here at the school that can help you.
One of the things that is also very helpful for us are those TK parent questionnaires and the K parent questionnaires. Because we don't know your students quite well yet, this gives us an opportunity to have you give us information where we can learn about them so that when they come in for that placement, we've got that background information.
Oops. And then you can see here, these are the documents that you'll need to upload during the registration process to complete your registration. And we need all of these documents before your enrollment is considered complete.
For school safety, I have to say Laguna Beach has one of the most extraordinary experiences that I've had in many districts as far as working so closely with our community partners to ensure the safety of our kiddos. We have 2 fabulous school resource officers that spread their time amongst all 4 of our schools. So we have Officer Fred and Officer Ashley. They do anything from passing out birthday pencils with us to providing incentives for our kids to do ride-alongs, as well as help us with any kind of needs that we may have regarding safety. Most recently, we worked with them to do some drills, some practice drills for fire, bus evacuation, and they're always there for us to help us to tweak and refine so that we can keep your kids' safety just at the heart of what we do. We also have safety committees that are encompassing parents, administrators, our community organizations, and that helps us to refine, again, our systems and what we do. We have a visitor check-in system called Raptor. So anytime you are on our campuses, we do require that if you are volunteering, that you are registered online at our district's website. You can again find that through lbusd.org. And we encourage you that if you do want to do any volunteering, especially as you hit the ground running, coming back in the fall, that you do that process through the summer. And then anytime you would be on campus for a visitation, that you do check in through the front office so that we officially know that you are here. We also want to encourage you as parents. You are the eyes and ears of our community. So if you see something, please say something to us. That helps us to know that we have the finger on the pulse of what's going on so that we can address situations as they arise.
Thanks, Dr. Hatchell. And I would just add to that we do a safety review of all of our kindergarten play equipment. Each of the kindergarten playgrounds they have a fence with a locked gate that we only open up at the beginning of the day and when students are coming and going during arrival and dismissal time, and that both of our campuses are enclosed and that everyone needs to check in through the office before they come onto campus. All right, I'm going to talk about the school bus and transportation. We do have busing. It is a paid service here in Laguna Beach, but if you think about the price of gas at this time, I think it's a pretty darn good deal. So we don't start selling the bus passes until this school year's over and you've registered. So over the summer, we start the bus pass purchasing process. They're done online. And it's at the LBUSD website under transportation. A few things that you have to have a bus pass to ride the bus, and you have to have a designated bus stop. So you as parents will be able to designate one stop where the students are allowed to get off, unless you may have like a blended family or a childcare, you can add one other stop. So that if you share custody with a child, they can get off at a stop near your house and a stop near the other parent's house. For TK and kindergarten, there has to be an adult there to meet the students. That is our policy. I think it's a good idea for students of all ages in elementary school, but they are required to have an adult meet them at the stop so they can get home safely. We also have transportation to the Boys and Girls Clubs, who provide daycare for our students after school. And this is going to be a big help for our TK program, because as we talk about the schedule next, we do have a half-day program for TK, so they can go to the Boys and Girls Club after that.
We also had a question regarding the availability of the buses if they fill up. During COVID, it was a challenge for us because we had very limited ridership. However, we've been able to accommodate all of our bus riders this year.
Yes, we have. Some of the buses are more crowded than others, but usually we've been able to accommodate all the parents and families who would like their children to ride the bus. And if you've ever driven to school, in all schools in Orange County, there is traffic congestion around arrival and dismissal time. You know how valuable land is in Orange County, and so there's not a lot of room in school parking lots. They dedicate the land for the classrooms and the playgrounds and things like that, as it should be. So when driving to school, always be patient, treat your fellow drivers with respect. We have limited parking at each of our sites because our staff has to park, obviously. But when you are on campus, we try to make parking available for you. But just plan ahead. You can also drop your children off. Here at El Morro, we drop off in a circle at the top of the parking lot. And I believe at Top of the World, it's right in the middle of the parking lot there. And we have adults on staff who are outside supervising the kids, helping them get off the bus and get onto the playground. There's supervision as well on the playground. We also have parents and staff members who help open doors in the morning so that the kids can get out of the car safely. And then we ask that you keep moving so the parents behind you can get in. I always make a joke that when you start driving to school in kindergarten, you should be very respectful of everybody because you're going to be driving to school with those same parents for the next 12 years, going through elementary school and middle school and then high school.
And one of the things you can help us out with as you work with your kids this summer is allowing them to fasten and unfasten their own seatbelts. That's a great help for us. It can be a little uncomfortable when we have our staff having to do that. So we appreciate their independence in you working with them over the summer to have them ready to do that this fall.
All right, we had a question about the questionnaire. The questionnaire is during the registration process. When you start the registration process, you will be emailed the questionnaire to fill out and return to the school. All right, so here's our transitional kindergarten bell schedule. For the early session, we like to call them the early birds. They come from 7:55 to 11:25 every day, as you can see. They have a recess break in the middle. They can get to play a little bit before school as well. And then we have a transition time where our late owls come, and that starts at 9:55. You can see the schedule for the late owls is a little bit different because they do have a lunch period from 11:30 to 12:10. And on Wednesdays, dismissal time is different because we have our early dismissal day on Wednesday for teacher collaboration, and that's at 1:17. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, they'll get out at 2:17. And then on Wednesdays, it's an hour early at 1:17.
And Chris, we may want to add, during that time where the kids do overlap, we have aid support working with the kids. So that helps us to reduce the ratio. Your kids get that smaller ratio when they come, and it's generally about 10-1 in the beginning of the day. They overlap. We have aid support during that overlap time. And then the late owls get their reduced ratio with the teachers after the early birds leave.
Thank you. So Sandy, I'm going to introduce Sandy in just a few slides. And she said that she's the early learning program specialist, and you can email her at her email address there, sbandatini@lbusd.org, and she will send you the questionnaire. And then the El Morro kindergarten schedule is listed here. We start at 8:15. We have the same lunch as transitional kindergarten. They have an afternoon recess, and then dismissal is just a little bit earlier than our 1st through 5th grade students, so we can allow our kindergarten students to get on the bus. And we have the same supplemental programs at both schools. We have science and STEAM lab, chorus, library, physical education. We have social emotional programs and art as well. You can see there our maximum class size is 25, and we do have aid support, as Dr. Hatchell mentioned. It says there that our arrival time for kindergarten is 8 o'clock. That's unless you have an older sibling in 1st through 5th grade that starts at 7:55. You can drop your kindergarten sibling off early so that the older sibling is on time. Let's go to the top of the world schedule.
Our schedule is very similar. We have adjusted recess times just by a tad. We run the same type of encore classes that support your kids in art and music and STEAM lab, PE, and the kids will have a lot of fun just exploring many, many different subject areas. I have never been in a district that had so many different encore experiences for our kids. So it's really a phenomenal experience for them. We also, during the process of enrollment, we want to remind you that we don't take friend or teacher requests. Our enrollment process is very tricky. We look at a lot of information, and it's not possible for us to accommodate all of the requests. So to be fair to everybody, we ask that there are no requests that are made. So wanted to just put that out there.
And the first day of school for TK and kindergarten is a parent and student together. So the parents join in on the first day. You get to see the classroom, meet the teacher, make sure that we have all of the pertinent information, like where your child's getting off the bus, if they're a parent pickup, if they're a bus rider, any contact information that we need. And then the second day is where you actually drop the child off and go home. And I wrote down on there, you know, short goodbye and don't turn back. We have learned over the years that those parents who, it's not necessarily the kids who have a tough time saying goodbye. Sometimes it's the parents who have a tough time saying goodbye. And I know that that means you have to trust in the school, that the school will take great care of your child. And I know you haven't met us yet, but I would like to think that our reputation will speak for ourselves, and that we have a very warm, nurturing, and caring environment at both of our schools, where we take really good care of our little guys in both TK and kindergarten. So I always make the joke that there's two types of parents. There's the ones who drop their kid off and hide in the bushes and spy on them to make sure they're doing everything that their parents expected they would do. And then there's the other parents who drop them off, turn around and shoot down the sidewalk to the car so they can go have a cup of coffee or take a walk with their friends. So, that's not judging anyone. It's just kind of a joke there. So I see we have some questions coming up here, so I'm going to hit those. Yes, this is also for TOW. And that's a good question about the AM and PM for transitional kindergarten. So if it is a childcare or work-related request, we will do our best to accommodate those requests. It's not just because a friend is in afternoon and I want to be in afternoon, or you know, my neighbors are in the morning, so I want to be in the morning. We can't accommodate those requests, but we want to set you and your child up for success. So if you have a specific work schedule that you need to have the PM for or the AM for, we'd like to try and accommodate that. And also if it helps with your childcare arrangements, that we accommodate those as well.
Chris, we have a couple of questions regarding notification of the schedules. We have to have all of our enrollment numbers before we're able to confirm schedules. So we will not be confirming schedules until early August. Is that correct for El Morro as well, Chris?
Yes.
All right. And then regarding TK enrollment, this year, the deadline for registration or the admittance for TK has been pushed back for 2 months. And in subsequent years, it will continue to be pushed back every 2 months. So your student has to be 4 by July 1st in order for them to be enrolled in TK for the upcoming school year. Unfortunately, if they don't have that birthday by that July 1st date, we will not be able to enroll them in TK for this year.
Looking at the questions here, the one about what will our kindergarten and TK kids, what will they do between dismissal to the bus and the Boys and Girls Club? So we walk them down to the bus, they get on the bus, they wait on the bus for just a little bit until the rest of the bus is filled up, and then we drive them over to the Boys and Girls Club.
And we do, unfortunately, parents are not allowed on the bus. So if you sign up for the bus, the kids do ride independently.
I think we answered all of those questions. We do have encore classes for the TK program. It might look a little bit different than what the kindergarten and the 1st through 5th grade encore classes look like, but we definitely have physical education. They do art. Our teachers teach science. So when you're 4 years old, it looks a little bit different than when you're in 3rd grade or things like that. We do singing. So we do enhance their programs as much as possible. Okay, so Sandy Bandettini is our early learning program specialist, and she's a resource for all of you parents at this time. You can see her email address right there is schoolreadiness@lbusd.org. And she is here to support you. So if you have questions about your child's development, you really need to reach out to Sandy, and she'll be happy to help you. She does run our Learning Link program, which is for our 3 to 5 year olds who would like to get ready for school. She also offers developmental screenings for students if you have questions about their development. So please reach out to her and write down her email address if you have any questions. We would like to know about these questions before school starts next year. So if you have those questions, you can reach out to Dr. Hatchell or myself or Sandy to help get you pointed in the right direction and answer your question. Oops. The Boys and Girls Club, Kristen, is offered at both the Canyon and Bluebird Park.
And our attendance clerk wanted me to remind you that the TK and K questionnaires are actually available online. They're not part of the registration packet that you upload. So you can go online to our websites or reach out to Sandy if you're having trouble finding that link. And Sandy can also give you that TK questionnaire, that TKK questionnaire as well.
Sandy's happy to help. Thank you, Sandy. I want to go back and clarify something about the registration process. So if you look on our transitional kindergarten page here, these are the birth dates that we'll serve. We will serve students turning 5 years old between September 2nd and February 2nd. So you can see their 5th birthday must fall between those 2 dates, and those are the students who are eligible for our TK program. I'll get back to the questions, but we're going to get through our presentation because it might answer some of your questions. So these are the 5 areas that we like to talk with parents about in setting your child up for success.
So the 5 areas where we really would love to have some of your help over the summer are helping us to develop their classroom skills, being social with other kids, being responsible in that independence word, being healthy and ready for them to learn, and then also working with both you and your kids on that separation anxiety. So over the course of the next few months, those are the areas we'd want to target. Specifically, these are the areas where you can hone in on helping them to be more successful. Can they work with groups? Can they listen to adult directions? Are they able to take turns? Can they communicate their needs effectively? All of these things are wonderful for you to help them with as we enter in the classroom. Chris, do you want to go over the social?
Sure. Sorry, I got a little...
That's okay.
Trigger happy there with the, sorry. So the biggest thing in my mind for the kindergarten TK students is learning to separate from you comfortably. And the way you can do this is by enrolling them in any type of preschool program. And when I say enrolling them, I don't mean a 5-day-a-week program at all. It could be something as easy as swim lessons and getting used to working with other adults and knowing that you'll be there to get them at the end. Learning to manage their emotions, showing respect for other students and adults, playing cooperatively and sharing, and then being able to work independently on simple tasks right now. They don't, we're going to teach them a lot in TK and kindergarten. So we can help them with that as well.
And here are some ideas from Sandy, actually, that you can use as far as book reads with your kids to help them to become prepared. So she's a wealth of information. So if you're struggling with what to do or how to get your kids prepared, please reach out to Sandy. She loves to help.
You can see all of those skills right there.
And I would say, I was meeting with a parent earlier this year, and one of the things that I was asked as a kiddo was struggling in our classes is how can we help at home to get them to be more independent and responsive? And one of the things that we really encourage is give your kids some jobs and chores that are just part of being the family. Not necessarily things that they get rewarded allowance for, but things that they need to do to be a functioning part of making your family work. So things like setting a table or putting their toys away or just simply cleaning their room are things that help to develop that responsibility and also that independence. Help them to make choices so that they don't need to constantly be told what to do, so that they understand how to function within a classroom. And then you can increase personal responsibility by doing things like allowing them to dress themselves, having them work on that buttoning, the zipping, so that when they're going to the bathroom in kindergarten, that they can do that themselves and not have to have that teacher assist, helping them to get their clothes ready the night before so that that's not a struggle in the morning. And then opening up little items like snacks, juice boxes, baggies, things like that are great and helpful for us.
And a real important parent skill, and it takes whiles for educators to learn this, is when you're giving your children a choice. So a lot of times kids, I know this never happens to any of your children, but they might have a little tantrum because they don't want to stop playing, or they don't want to clean up, or they don't want to go home when it's time to go home, maybe if you're playing outside or something like that. So it's learning to give them a choice in what happens next, but you have to be skillful at it, parents. You have to learn to say things like, you have a choice. You can clean up the mess you've made, or you're going to go to your room. What would you like to do? So those are things that you have to be good at. You can't say things like, you either clean up your mess or you're never going to play with these toys again, because we don't want to set ourselves as adults up for failure. So it's learning to stay calm and give them appropriate choices to make that will work for you as the adult. So there, in preparing for school, we do need to make sure that all the kids are healthy and ready to learn. So each child in kindergarten and transitional kindergarten has to have a routine physical and a routine oral examination. And that's part of the registration process. And so you'll be downloading those forms online to take to your physician and your dentist for them to fill out. All the offices are familiar with these forms. And so you just take them down, get the routine checkup, and get them signed off. Obviously, eating a nutritious breakfast, giving the kids healthy choices, and packing healthy snacks. Creating a family schedule. All right, here's a big one, guys. I say we start planning right now for going to bed early and getting up early for school next year. Because for kindergarten, 7:55 is dressed, fed, at the playground before the bell rings at 7:55. So the kids are going to have to go to bed at an appropriate time. And you don't want to start that routine a day before school starts, because they'll be very tired and crabby in the morning if we don't get them to bed early. So, start in the summer, start having their bedtime be appropriate. It's a little bit different for each child. You'll have to work them out, but obviously between 8 and 9, I think, is an appropriate time for little guys to go to bed. And so they can get up and get to school on time.
One of the things we also want to add is that we have a great nutrition program through Laguna. So we do serve kids free meals for their breaks and lunches, and your kids can have access to that next year as well. They are balanced and nutritious as well. So that information will be coming. The kids just raise their hand in the morning to request that they are served a treat or snack, and then we take them to the cafeteria to pick that up. Here is our information regarding immunizations. Please follow that carefully. We do require immunizations that are all listed online for your children to start school. If you have any questions regarding immunizations or series of vaccines, you can reach out to either of our district nurses or our health assistants at our schools, and we can help you to walk you through that. And all of that information can be uploaded into the registration materials.
And that is the state law. It's not a local law that we've made up or anything like that. And they are required before your child can attend class. And I've had some parents upset that their kid missed the first few days of school because they didn't have an appropriate immunization or the oral and physical health examination forms completed. So we are required to have those on file before the start of school. So please plan now and start scheduling those appointments. We will accept those forms at this time. For next year.
And a question was asked, if you have allergies for snacks or drinks, who do you notify? You can indicate that information when you register your children. There'll be some questionnaires where we ask, do they have any allergies? And please let your teachers know as well. Regarding school entry, you can see here all of the vaccines that are required for immunization and what you need to do when you need to get them. And again, any questions, reach out to our health assistants or our nurses. We're glad to be there for you.
And you can see some resources here, shotsforschool.org. Online will give you the requirements and also this Parent's Guide to Immunizations Required for School Entry. That's from the California Department of Public Health. So they're listed right here. Those are the vaccines that are required, or immunizations, excuse me, that are required. These are the health examination and oral health and physical health examination forms. It's what they look like. Your doctors, like I said, are very familiar with them. You fill out the child's name. The doctor fills out this section right here, signs off that the kiddo has been seen and is ready to start school.
And we wanted to talk a little bit about separation anxiety. I know that we briefly touched upon it earlier. This is for both you and your children. These are things to think about for that first day of school and to start planning now. If your child is anxious about leaving your side, please stay calm. I dropped my older son off in Texas to college this year, and I'll tell you, that was not a calm experience, but I left in my car and then I cried, leaving him that far behind. When your kids know that you're confident, they're going to have a confident experience as well. And both Chris and I are parents. We've done that we've had to do that from the kindergarten all the way up to the college kids. So we understand how difficult that can be. Definitely stay calm. It helps to have a goodbye ritual. My 18-year-old, we have our ritual even now today that we use when we say goodbye, and that helps us a lot. So develop those. It could be a wave, it could be a kiss, it could be a peace sign, whatever that is, to just say, hey, you've got this, go. On that first day of school, remember that you do join them for the entire time. The second day of school, that will be where you practice that short goodbye, and then they'll attend independently.
I have a few notes down here. Is the more that you prepare your child for what to expect, the easier that transition will be. And if you're anxious about it, don't say anything in front of the kids, because they will listen and they will hear you. And a lot of times the adults think that we're not listening, or that the children aren't listening to what we're saying. They hear everything we say. So if you had a bad experience in kindergarten, don't talk about it in front of your child, because you're going to project that experience and that anxiety onto your child. We don't want that.
And again, Sandy has given us a ton of resources here that you can use if you want to start prepping your kiddos for that separation at the first day. I know that our teachers use the kissing hand as well in that first week of school, but you're welcome to read these with your kids. These are some of our favorites.
Our Laguna Beach Library is back open. That's awesome. So there's lots of resources, either online at the library. Reading with your kids is the best thing that you can do with them. Well, one of the best things that you can do with them is reading them appropriate stories about school before they go to bed or in the afternoon. Here's some other books to read about the first day of kindergarten. Kindergarten Countdown, Kindergarten Rocks, The Night Before Kindergarten, When You Go to Kindergarten. There's a bunch of them out there. And if you just ask the librarian, she'll be happy to assist you with finding any books that might help with getting your child excited about kindergarten.
And then finally, we have our office staff here. Again, we've shared that they are happy to help you with any questions you have or walk through the process of registration. We have all of the contacts listed here. We'll post this presentation and the slide deck on our websites so that you can click right on the links to get to email them. So both of the office staffs from El Morro as well as Top of the World are linked right there for you.
All right, which brings us to our Q&A here. So let's see what we have some information in the chat here.
Chris, can you go over the deadline for TK again? I messed that one up since you're the guru on TK. Can you go over that one more time on the eligibility? I appreciate that. And sorry for the confusion.
So it is right here on the transitional kindergarten page. Any student turning 5 between September 2nd and February 2nd, 2023 is eligible for our transitional kindergarten program. So they're 4 years old on September 2nd, on September 1st and turning 5 on September 2nd, then they can enroll in our TK program.
Thank you. Sorry about that confusion.
That's okay. And then for kindergarten, they would be 5 years old by September 1st. So if they're 5 years old by September 1st, then they would be eligible for kindergarten. That's all right here on our website. The first day next year is August 22nd. And like we said, that will be a parent and child coming together. It's about an hour and a half where you get to see the classroom. You know, we front load the kids on what to expect. They get to go on the playground. They get to play around a little bit, meet their teacher, see the classroom, like I said, and then get all that important information. So we're set up for success and ready to go for the next day.
We have a question about morning snacks. Parents are welcome to send morning snacks with their kids. We do ask that they're healthy. We do have some kids occasionally who bring Twinkies and Doritos, and you might be getting a phone call for that. We do want them to have healthy snacks and encourage that. Right now, we do allow nuts. However, depending upon what we receive as far as severity of allergies, that can change. We do have a nut-free table that kids can sit at. But right now we do allow the nut products, at least at Top of the World. How about at El Morro, Chris?
It depends. If a child has a nut allergy in that classroom, then we ask the other parents not to bring peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and things like that. And we have what we call the nut-free classroom. So the entire campus isn't nut-free, but those classrooms might be if we have a nut allergy. We also have peanut-free tables, as you mentioned before.
As far as the early bird or late owl work or registration, you are welcome to list that on your questionnaire that will go out to you, or where you can access that online. So please just indicate a request based upon need, and we will try to accommodate that session request. Yeah,
and the other thing that I always say about food to the parents is I've seen parents put so much time into the student lunch. And, I see these beautiful lunches, and remember that kids are excited to play with their peers and play on the playground. And so only pack what they're going to eat. Like, they don't need a whole sandwich if they're 4 or 5. You can just pack them half a sandwich. And then don't pack them things that they're not going to eat. So even though you might like them to eat the healthy stuff, try to make sure it's something that they will eat, because we do want some fuel for their little brains and bodies as they go through the school day. So this, I think Julie mentioned this, but once we gather all the registration, what we do here at El Morro is at the end of the school year, before we go home at the middle of June, we send out a letter to you. If you've already completed registration, we send out a letter to you letting you know your child has been registered for the AM or the PM classes. That's why early registration is important, because we can send that information out to you, and then you'll know ahead of time. Families who register before the before the beginning of the school year in late August, you're probably going to get what you get based on availability at that time. So once the classes start to fill up more, it's hard to ensure that you get your AM or PM time for TK.
I saw a question about how do we get our kids a snack if they want to get that through the school. We simply have them raise their hands every morning on who wants to pick up a snack in the cafeteria. So you can send them, the teacher will ask them to raise their hand, and we'll send them to the cafeteria for snack. Another question came up: how can we sign up for supplemental programs? Both of our schools offer after-school programs. Right now, Top of the World does not have kindergarten or TK participate in our after-school activities. The only after-school activities that they have or childcare is available through the Boys and Girls Club, but ASP is not offered to kindergarten or TK students at Top of the World.
Or El Morro. All right, so we have some other questions here. No parents, we talked about that. They don't travel on the bus. We do have enrichment programs and classes for our TKs. It does go to the Boys and Girls Club.
I think we've hit all the questions so far, Chris.
Okay.
Went through those. If there's any that we haven't hit, go ahead and just type it in the chat box right now and we'll get you.
Yeah, the TK and K bus to Boys and Girls Club is the same in the afternoon, but during the middle of the day, it's just the TK kiddos that go over there. If you get out at 11:30. Yeah, put those schedule requests on your registration.
As far as the TK teacher hiring at Top of the World, we are in the process of hiring, doing interviews right now. So we do not have somebody specifically identified as the TK teacher yet, but we have some amazing candidates that we are interviewing.
And then right now we do have the one tour scheduled for the tours, and that is on May 12th at 6 p.m. We have tours of El Morro and Top of the World going on that evening. So we'll open up our classrooms for parents to come on, take a look, and see what a great facility we have available for you.
I also wanted to share one of the best ways to keep in touch with our communications is to make sure your kids are signed up and registered. Once they are registered, we do send out at both schools a weekly communication and the principal's blast, and our district sends out information as well through Parent Square. That will give you all updated information regarding when the bus passes are available or anything that you may need to know from a school or district perspective.
And then, Julie, are you having children come along with the parents on the tour?
Yes, children are welcome to come on our tour.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea to have the kids come along with you so that they can see the facility as well. I see the question about the 12th or the 17th. Our tour is on May 12th at El Morro. Is yours on the same date, Julie?
I believe it is. Let me double check. I think we had to change it originally, but we have, oh no, we did change. So ours is on the 17th. Yes, we had to change ours.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. So to clarify, the Top of the World tour is on May 17th. El Morro's is on May 12th. I misspoke when I said they were both on May 12th.
That's okay. We had a conflict at Top of the World, so we had to change our date, Chris. Sorry.
That's okay. All right. So once again, we're available to answer questions about the transition to TK and kindergarten. Our email addresses are on the screen here. Our email protocol is first initial, last name at lbusd.org. And then Sandy's is schoolreadiness@lbusd.org. Well, thank you for coming to our orientation today. We look forward to meeting you in person on our tours and when your kids start school next year. We're really looking forward to a successful transition. Thank you. All right, we got a lot of thank yous. You're welcome. And we'll see everybody soon. I'm going to end the webinar now.